I'm Emma.
Well, today we are back from hiatus. Finally, it was a tough 2 weeks of recording, and so we needed a vacation.
We did. We deserve it.
We really did deserve it. As you may have noticed, we are no longer just the generic Bachelor podcast anymore. We now have a new name.
We do. Credit to you.
Pulling a Craig. Can you explain to the fine people what pulling a Craig is, for those who may not know?
Well, unfortunately for us all, Craig is no longer with us on Andy's journey to find love, but he was a very vivacious character the first 2 episodes, and unfortunately for Craig, he got a little too drunk and made a fool of himself and jumped in the pool and asked Andy some embarrassing questions, but he was great. I love him. I wish he would have stayed around. He serenaded her as an apology. He's a great guy.
Hopefully we'll see Craig on Bachelorette this summer.
I would very much think that he would go on that. I think he's perfect. For that show, not for me. Oh, wow. Okay. But moving on from Craig.
Moving on from perfect.
As much as I hate to. All right.
Okay. So what do you think of we had a two-parter, and then we had a recap. I didn't watch the recap.
I didn't either.
So,
yeah.
But what do you think about the 2 episodes we had?
Well, I was just a little confused as to why there were 2 episodes. Like, I was happy because I enjoy watching, but I think it was just a ratings thing. Like, I don't know they had no reason, I don't think, to have 2 episodes in a row.
I mean, this is network TV, so it's always kind of a ratings thing.
Yeah, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, especially right in the middle. Like, if it were, like, Hometowns and Women Tell All or something, that would make sense a little bit more.
Yeah,
and
I would agree with that. It was a weird time. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on there. But hey, it meant that we got 4 hours of Bachelor programming, so.
Yeah, so we have lots to talk about, and I thought they were two intense episodes.
Those are 2 very intense episodes.
They were.
Let's actually work backwards. What did you think about the way they treated Eric's exit? Or what do you think about Eric's exit in general?
I have a lot of mixed emotions on this. I mean, I think it was hard for them either way because I think it was kind of awkward for them to show that confrontation knowing, like, everyone knows that that's Eric and what happens. But at the same time, they had to, show him leaving. They didn't want him to just disappear. So I think it was a fine line they kind of had to walk to be able to portray what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. It sucked. Like, that was, like, his last public appearance, basically. Like, that's basically, like, how... I don't want to say, like, that's how he'll be remembered, but at the same time, like, that was the last image that we had of Eric, was him walking out and, like, being very hopeful for the future, actually, which I thought was really sad, but...
Yeah, and it was just awkward because Andy was crying and she was mad, and he was, like, he looked a little confused. Like, I don't think he meant for what he said to come across as insulting as it did. I think he was...
No, I don't think so either.
He was just genuinely trying to
I
communicate.
thought he actually made some really good points. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, but I sort of wanted to get your thoughts. I actually like the fact that they didn't do a rose ceremony, that they just said, oh, Tassos went home. We're not going to make this more dramatic than it needs to be. So I actually respect him for that.
Yeah, that was nice that they didn't just, like, cut back to the rose ceremony. That would have been a little insensitive. And, I mean, the interview was kind of awkward with Chris and Andy, but I don't know what else they could have done that wouldn't have been awkward. So,
I don't know. And shout out to Eric.
Yeah, it's sad all around.
Yeah, it really is. Let's get back to happier things, especially this first date, this first group date. With boys to men.
Oh, episode 3 group date. Okay.
Yes, episode 3 group date. That's great, honestly. Boys to men, so much better than Soldier Boy.
I liked the Soldier Boy date.
Oh, as sacrilegious as that may sound, Boys to Men kills Soldier Boy in every respect.
I was
literally, as soon as the episode ended, I went to watch the music video for "I'll Make Love to You." Literally, the second it ended,
That's how you have to do it. Boys to men, important to all of us. But yeah, I thought that was a great date. I mean, I thought it was funny. It was entertaining. And you got to put them all on the spot a little bit.
Exactly, and no stripping this time. Like,
no stripping.
They're shaking it for dollars anymore.
And they were all pretty much god awful, with the exception of a few.
They were horrifically bad.
They're so bad.
It was awesome. I loved it. Andy needs to stop talking about how she's friends with these people. She introduced the head of a like male stripper group as her good friend, and then she introduced Boys to Men as her good friend.
Yeah, they're not her friends.
Exactly.
Andy, you don't have that many friends. You have friends where you live. There you go.
I did feel kind of sorry for Bradley. As much as I never thought I would say that. He was so excited about that. He was like, "Can you hit the right note? Like, let's go. I'm ready to go and get my rose."
He makes me want to spit up. I hate Bradley.
Whoa! Wow. That is a hot take right there. I can understand not loving the guy, but man, he was really earnest. I really liked that.
He was horrible.
He won some points for me.
There are no points left to even lose. He's in the negatives for me.
Wow.
I'm so happy he's gone. That was like a breath of fresh air.
Wow.
He's not fun. He didn't make it fun. He just tried to be like...
All he wanted to do, in the words of Markel, was to serenade the shit out of her.
Markel's a beautiful man with beautiful ways of putting things.
Yeah, he was good.
Even though, his singing was what it was, he has so much style. He can do anything.
Were we expecting anything better, though?
No.
Were we really expecting any of these guys to be even halfway decent?
No, that's why it's a funny date.
Do you think they knew that? Do you think they were like, okay, we've got this opera singer who's going to be terrible at singing R&B, and then we have these other pros who are going to be just absolutely even worse?
Oh yeah, like that was deliberate. I feel bad for Boys to Men.
I don't feel bad for Boys to Men.
I guess they have enough going for them.
I would love to be part of Boys to Men.
You should petition.
If that makes them want to quit Boys to Men, I will absolutely take one of their places.
Hey, you should write to them. You'd be a good addition, I think.
I really would.
You can hold a tune.
I would serenade the shit out of some people. Not gonna lie.
There you go.
Chris Harrison got to introduce him, which I was insanely jealous of.
Yeah, Chris Harrison gets to do the coolest things.
He has the best life. Like he gets to go on all these vacations and just like F around and not do. There's no pressure on him.
Yeah.
He has to like introduce people at rose ceremonies.
And everyone loves him, so he doesn't even need to like worry about his reputation or anything, because it's like he's so well liked that he can say anything he wants.
Exactly, and he can date any of the former contestants he wants to, like, and nobody's ever gonna hold it against him.
Very true.
Yeah. As for the date itself, yeah, I don't think the crowd understood how bad those people were going to be.
No, they were.
They were really excited at the beginning, and then you could just tell that the energy level dropped throughout the song. And
yeah, their faces were just like,
really
they all looked so displeased.
I'm pretty sure that they understood that they weren't going to be good at it, but I don't think that they realized that they were going to be that bad.
Yeah, they were bad.
It was painful. I loved it, but it was painful.
All of their singing faces.
To be fair, I have a really bad singing face too. I look just extremely angry at everyone when I sing. So. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not claiming to have a good singing face, but some of those guys were just like, come on. Oh well. It was a good date. I appreciate the producers for putting that together.
Mm-hmm. All right. On to the actual cocktail party. Anything did you
the cocktail?
Yeah, the cocktail party, the second part of the date.
Okay, for the date, yeah.
Yeah, of the group date.
I honestly can't remember.
There wasn't much that went on, honestly.
I can't honestly picture anything.
We did, I have two things to say. Andrew is staying around at least 2 or 3 more weeks because I don't know if he's necessarily good at the game, but he understands that they are playing a game.
Oh, for sure. And I think he'll do anything the producers ask him to do or say.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I would guess he stays at least until week 6.
Yeah, I agree. Despite the fact that you never really see him and Andy together.
Yeah, or maybe he just comes out of nowhere, rises like a phoenix.
I really don't like him.
Oh no, I don't think anybody likes him.
That smirk. He always looks so smug, he's better than everyone.
Yeah. Wait, that week 3. That was number gate. How do you think that went down? Because everybody got so angry at him.
Oh, that was the number thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just confused as if this is something that happened way in the beginning. Why did it come up right now?
Yeah, I don't know what to think because the way they described it, it was he went out, he actively pursued this girl's number, and then he came back and he started talking about how much game he had. And the way he portrayed it was, this girl gave me her number. I came back and I just I was like, hey guys, look, this girl just gave me her number. And I don't necessarily know what the truth is because there weren't any cameras there, which is kind of surprising, honestly. If I were a producer, I would have cameras on these guys as soon as they get into LA.
Well, the thing is, you don't want to turn it into the real world. You know what I mean? You don't want it to be filming a bunch of these dudes at a restaurant together. You want to keep it formal and centered on Andy, not so much the guys. So you're not going to have a camera with them at dinner.
I mean, I guess so, but at the same time, it's not like this is a show that is above that sort of thing, though.
Oh, for sure. The show is not above any line, anything.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if I were a producer, I would have been really angry that we didn't have video evidence of what actually happened here.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I don't know. Andrew, I think rubs everybody the wrong way, but whatever. He's here. He's here to stay too.
I don't know. I think they made it too dramatic. I think the guys did, but at the same time, I don't think he should have been getting someone's number if he's on this show.
JJ's pants were a little bit too colorful to be in that situation. You can't be yelling at somebody to be a man when you were wearing patterned pants.
That is a valid point. That is a very valid point. JJ is just a goof.
JJ is a goof. JJ's a dork. JJ's in the words of Andrew, JJ is a dork, JJ is an asshole, and JJ is a nerd.
the trifecta of insults right there.
Yeah. Apparently he's got a problem with smart people.
Apparently so. Oh gosh. Okay, let's move on from Andrew because he's making me mad. I don't like him.
I've got a question for you.
All right.
Is it just me or is Andy kind of racist?
Are you referring to Markel's question about favorite color?
I am referring to Markel's question about favorite color.
This is what I think happened. I don't think she's racist. I think he asked her what your favorite color is, and Andy goes, I have a lot of black dresses. Black! I think that's how the, train of thought went.
I don't, for the record, I do not actually think that
Yeah. Of course.
It's just whenever she interacts with Markel, little things sort of pop up. It's it kind of feels like she has she's got this really old school uncle that doesn't understand why it's not okay to say the N-word.
Yeah.
And that's just it didn't rub off on her in a negative way. It just sort of rubbed off on her in a little bit. Because whenever she talked about talked about him after the first episode, she said he had swag, which is just a weird choice of words.
She doesn't really speak like that in general, so exactly. That was weird.
It was hey Andy, what's up? you just sort of have like these little tendencies that it's just kind of. I don't think that she's racist. It's just sort of they just keep piling up, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think she does interact with Markel a little differently, but I agree with you that I don't think she's a racist person. Yeah. But that was a really, that was like the clip they chose to show too from their whole conversation. Like, what's your favorite color? Black. That's it. Okay, good for you guys. He's not making it to the end, but he's gonna.
No, I don't think he makes it to hometowns.
Nah, I don't think he does either.
I've actually got my top 4.
I have my top 3.
I've got my top 4. You want to hear it?
Yes.
We'll get back to the dates in a bit. So my top 3 are Nick, Josh, and Marcus.
Same.
And then hometown is Krista Farmer. I think she goes to Iowa and realizes how podunk his hometown is, and is just immediately turned off.
I don't know. I think I'm replacing Josh in my, like, I think Josh goes to hometowns, but then Chris gets to top 3. So mine's slightly different, I guess.
Your vision is clouded right now. You're replacing who you would take with who you think Andy's going to take.
Absolutely. Yes. No doubt.
Let's be real here. Aaron Murray's brother is getting a visit to the fantasy suite.
Oh, I don't know, man. She does really like him, and they have good chemistry. Maybe, you know what? I'm between either Josh not making it to 3 or Marcus not making it to 3. I think
Mark. The one thing that I keep hearing from Andy is that Marcus is like the perfect guy. So I'm waiting. So I don't know if that's just like a signal from the people who make this show that Marcus is going forever, or if we're about to get a bomb dropped on us.
Yeah, like if he turns into, I could see, like I really like Marcus right now, but I could see him turning into like some insecure, annoying, like, oh, do you like me the best? Do you like me the best? Where is this going? And Andy just being like, nah.
See, I was thinking even more than that. I was thinking, what if Marcus has because supposedly Marcus hasn't been dating for the past 3 years, right?
Yeah.
What if Marcus's idea of dating is a little bit different than some girl that he had at home? And then all of a sudden she comes and she says, what happened? And he says to her, we were never really dating.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to actually happen. Just to put that out there. But just everything that we keep hearing about Marcus is that he's the perfect guy. He's the perfect guy. I can't believe that he hasn't been dating for 3 years. That's crazy to me. I think the floor drops out at some point.
Yeah, I could see him being built, because I feel like when they do build someone up so well, it tends to not be the person who's standing there at the end. So, because that would be no fun. Like, where's the drama in that?
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, so let's move on to Dylan's date. I really don't have too much to say about Dylan's date.
Dylan's date?
Dylan, train?
No, I know what date you're talking about. Are we on episode 3 or 4 right now?
No, that's 3.
No.
I think.
Dude, no.
Oh, my chronology is awful.
It's okay. There was a lot of airtime to watch.
There was, yeah. I need to organize my notes better.
Episode 3 was JJ's date and Nick's date.
Oh, you're right. It was JJ's date. So what did you think of JJ's date? Here's my biggest problem with JJ. It wasn't the way that he acted at or on the date. I think that he overplayed once they got out of the makeup.
Yeah.
I think he overplayed the remember when we were old people card. I think he just went. I think he went back to that well a few too many times.
Yeah, that was. First of all, I mean, let's just talk about that date in general. Do the producers really have no other ideas for something that they can do to put these people on a date? Like, I don't know. That was just a weird date to me. Like, it was funny.
They have to do something, because they can't just be like, oh, we're going to go get ice cream in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, like I get that. But I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of cool, unique things you could do in Santa Barbara. It's not like it's like the middle of the cornfields in Illinois. Like,
It's true. But to be fair, like every single year there is a I am scared of heights. Let's jump off this building together.
yes, but at least that's like a unique. I mean, this is a unique date idea, but it didn't feel like a date to me. It felt like two friends being like, "Let's do this funny thing."
Well, that's the thing about JJ. I don't think
That's what it was.
I think that's more what it was, honestly. Like they can talk about how connected they are, but that was a very whenever she talks about JJ, it's never in the it's the same way she talks about Cody, honestly. Whenever she talks about him, it's always I would hang out with this guy, but I never get the sense that she would actually like fall for that guy.
Yeah. Could we just point out that Cody's still there?
Yeah, Cody is still there. I'm coming around on Cody, honestly. He seems like a fun guy.
He seems like a fun guy, but like why is like they don't interact besides like, oh, what's up? Like you were saying, like friendly. I don't know. I guess you can't this is my opinion right now so far in the season in general. It doesn't seem like there are that many men she actually has chemistry with.
I would agree with that, actually. Like I said, it's the top 4 for me, and then it's kind of everybody else at this point.
Exactly. Like, I think it's very clear, like, whoever you have in the top 2 might be different, but I feel like if you ask anyone who's watching, oh, who do you think the top 4 will be, I feel like those names will come up.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's obvious.
There's like there's that top 4 tier, then there is the Markel / JJ, am I missing somebody?
Markel, JJ, no.
Brian,
I would put Brian lower.
I would put Brian in that tier as well, after this date at least.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and then there's like Cody, Andrew.
Yeah. That we like never see their interaction. Of course, maybe they could. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that somebody made a late push.
No, it definitely wouldn't. So, I mean, I'm not gonna say for sure that's what the final 4 has to be, but I think she's unusually like kind of set, like these are my guys and these are not, in a way that I think editing usually really tries to make it a lot more of an even playing field.
I got you. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, because I mean we still got a lot of show left.
Yes, it's like not even halfway done, or just hitting the halfway point, like next week.
And I mean, there are a lot of guys that she has a good rapport with, so it wouldn't surprise me or if those guys were to take that rapport and create a connection out of it.
Yeah, I mean, some relationships just take a little bit longer to develop than others, and that's hard on this show, so
yeah,
you never know. But yeah, back to the date. Were we talking about JJ's date still?
Yes, we are talking about JJ's date. So they just had a dinner at the end, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have a concert or anything.
Nope, they did not.
Yeah, and like I think you made this comment to me. Like nobody ever eats their dinner on there. I'd eat that. All the food looks really good. Do you think that they are instructed not to eat?
No, I mean, no, that would be ridiculous. Because especially, like, they have such long days, like, I'm sure they're starving. Like, I would be like, where's second dinner? But, maybe that's just me, but I bet they, like, eat as much as they can, but if they're trying to get to know each other in this limited time, and they know it's being filmed, you're not gonna be sitting there chewing a big steak with your mouth open and being like, so where'd you grow up?
I got you. Alright. Fair.
But maybe when they're done talking, they kind of sit and eat, and like that just doesn't get shown because there's no talking.
Yeah. Do you think that their dinners are actually like, if that's the way it works? Do you think that their dinners are actually what's on their plate? Because I feel like at that point, all the food gets cold.
Yeah, I feel like it would be nasty. That's a good question.
I don't know if that food is ever hot in the first place, because it honestly looks like they have like a food artist to make these plates up for them. I don't know if that food is ever meant to be eaten.
I mean, it might. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't.
What if they just like sit there eating like Slim Jims and like potato chips at the end because they're just so hungry because they haven't eaten all day?
Yeah, maybe they just have like the show dinner, and then when they're done, they'll be like, "All right, guys, here's some real food."
Some real food.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a question to tweet at a previous contestant.
You can go ahead and do that.
Can I tweet at people if my Twitter's on private? Because I know I can tweet at people, but will they not be able to see it?
I don't know. I've never been an at tweeter. And I've been living the public life for a while now. So
maybe I should start living the public life.
Maybe you should. I mean, you have your stuff for it already nailed down, so I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll make the leap today. Who knows?
Maybe.
Feeling dangerous. Okay. Anyway.
Right. Do you have anything else to say about JJ?
No, I think he's really sweet, and I think he's a good guy. I just don't see him and Andy making out.
I agree. I think he stays around for a little while longer, but I don't think he makes it to hometowns.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Can we move on to
Nick?
The second episode?
Wait, we didn't talk about Nick, though.
I remember nothing about Nick, honestly. I have no notes about Nick. I have nothing at all. Well,
okay, we don't need to talk about his date. I just want to say I love Nick a lot. He's so weird and nerdy, and he kind of makes it known, hey, this is weird. I don't know that this actually works, but we'll see. And I like that honesty. He's great.
I don't know. What if maybe Nick's just this diabolical guy? Maybe he's everything that Andrew thinks that he is.
That's too much, man. That's too much. Too much to wrap my mind around. I'm just gonna go with loving him and.
Okay, I got you. He's a goofy looking guy, but in a very friendly way. So.
Yeah, he is goofy. He looks kind of creepy, his smile a little bit. I don't know, but she seems to like it, so go her.
He might just be not a very photogenic person, honestly.
Yeah.
Some people just look different on camera than they do in real life. So it wouldn't surprise me if he just if what looks kind of creepy now is just because he's got all these lights on him and the cameras making him look weird. So he might just be a very normal looking person. Because apparently Juan Pablo was extremely attractive in person. And just sort of judging him on seeing him on The Bachelor. He looked like an attractive person, but it wasn't oh, this is the sexiest guy I've ever seen.
Yeah, I definitely thought, oh, Juan Pablo's really hot, but I wouldn't, the girls were, freaking out over him.
Yeah, so, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, do you have anything else to say about Nick?
No, I just like him.
I do have one thing to say. That note was a brilliant piece of gamesmanship, and Andy handled it horrifically.
Why?
So the basic situation was she's sitting one-on-one with Eric, and she's already having doubts about Eric, and all of a sudden these flowers show up.
Yeah.
Eric admits that they aren't from him, so what does Andy do immediately? She sits there and reads the card right in front of Eric.
Yeah, it was awkward, but what else? She wasn't gonna just put the card away. I would have read it.
Right in front of another dude though, that's doing him dirty. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe. I don't know. I probably honestly would be so self-involved in that moment. Oh, I wonder who sent these, la la la, that I wouldn't be intentionally oh, here's this dude, I'm gonna read this in front of him, but I would have just been so flustered that I probably would have.
Yeah, I'm just saying, It wasn't a good look for Andy.
Yeah, that's Eric must have felt awkward. I would have if I was
They both apparently felt pretty awkward about it because they didn't feel like a great connection in the first place, and then all of a sudden now this other guy is sending her flowers, and she's taking time out of his one-on-one time to read this card. So yeah. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever.
It was a little weird, but back to episode 4 now.
Back to episode 4.
So now we can talk about Dylan.
Episode 4. We're fording into episode 4.
Yes.
Like a cocked wagon.
A cocked wagon. I feel like cocked wagons keep coming up in our lives. Our lives. Did I just say that?
I feel like Oregon Trail is a very important part of our life, or our development at least.
I think it is too.
It shouldn't surprise us that cocked wagons keep coming up.
I guess it shouldn't. Should have expected that.
Probably. All right. Can we move right past the one-on-one date and talk about the group date.
You don't want to talk about Dylan's date?
I didn't have too much to say about Dylan's date. I don't know. I'm not, like, I'm not one for the emotional type stuff. So,
oh, really?
Shut up.
Well, no, I mean, I just thought I just think that the producers probably pushed him into saying more than he, might want to say on national television, and I felt like it felt kind of forced. And, it was very sad. I'm very sad for him. And Andy was clearly very sad for him, as she should have been. But even though she said it wasn't a pity rose, and I don't think it was a pity rose, I don't necessarily think she sees herself marrying Dylan either.
I agree. I would kind of put him in that second tier, but I would also not put him in that second tier because he's a little bit different because there does seem to be an emotional depth to their relationship at this point.
Yeah. Well, how could there not be after he
exactly.
told her so much?
I don't think I really don't think he's a favorite to go to the hometowns or anything. But after that, he definitely has more potential than somebody like
Brian.
Somebody like Brian, I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like the beginning of the date was so awkward that it was painful. Bad. Yeah, it was painful.
I don't know if they just captured the most painful moments, but when he looked out the window.
Oh God, yeah.
And he said, "I used to swim across that river." It was, oh man, it was so awkward. It was pretty hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and so I'm glad he opened up a little, and by the end it was less painful, but I still don't feel like it was a natural date.
I agree. Also, I think that I didn't like the date structure. Because it was this long train ride that was really, really awkward. And I feel like the producers knew that it was going to be awkward. Then it was this really emotional dinner. And then she says, "I've got one more surprise for you." Now, generally that means, I've got a concert for you. We're going to hang out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
"I've got one more surprise for you. We're going to blow the train whistle."
Yeah.
I just did not like it. I thought that day could have been structured better for Dylan.
Yeah, it was meant to be awkward and emotional, and it was. So.
Yeah, I just wish that there had been more of an emotional lift at the end.
Yeah, than there was.
It's gonna be everything's gonna be all right, more than just a train whistle.
Yeah, it was an okay date, I guess.
Yeah.
But Dylan seems nice. He just seems like he has a lot on his plate.
Yeah, I've actually come to respect Dylan a lot more. I thought he was going to be classic stuck up masshole. I even in our first podcast, I even called him a masshole, and I judged a book by its cover, which I'm going to do all the time on this show. But
it's okay. I called Nick a creepy man child, and now I like him. So. So we both learned our lessons, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not I guess Nick is a little bit more than a creepy man child at this point. So.
Oh, come on. Give him some credit.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to say about Dylan?
No, just that I'm sad for him.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to the group date because there's some stuff to talk about here.
There is. I have some questions for you first.
Yes. All right, so I've got one question for you before you get into questions for me.
Okay.
How many of these guys do you think can dunk?
Can dunk?
Yes.
2.
Okay, who do you think can dunk?
Markel.
Okay, we pretty much saw Markel dunk, so I would agree with that.
And I would say Josh.
Okay, those are my 2 as well. I don't think Brian can dunk.
Brian's not that tall, right?
No, he's not. It only looks like he was about 6 foot at most, maybe if that. Sort of the scrappy white guy who just gets by on being able to shoot threes all the time. Which, to be fair, he's really good at shooting threes apparently.
Oh yeah, he looked good in the few things that I saw. He looked good out there. Mm-hmm. He also plays basketball a lot.
Yeah. Also, I was extremely excited to see Elena Della down there. She's a babe. She's a 6'5" babe.
Yeah, I like how they had WNBA and they were laughing at the guys. It was cute.
Yeah, it was pretty cute. But yeah, I was just really excited to see Elena Deladon. The only other person I knew like the name Tamika Catchings, but like I've never seen her play ever. And then Swin Cash, which let's be real, that is the greatest name for a basketball player that has ever played that. It's an incredible name. Like I don't know how you get that name, but I'm really sad that I don't have that name.
I don't think it would fit you, but
I obviously would not fit me.
But maybe. No, I thought
I'm just sad that I don't have it.
Yeah.
But,
no, I'm happy.
Right, so
I like
some
it.
questions for
Yeah.
me.
First of all, knowing how you're not a big supporter of women in basketball shorts, how did you like Andy's basketball getup?
Yeah. Yeah, I did not appreciate it. I did like it when she changed back into her warm up, so I was much happier with that.
I had a feeling.
Apparently Brian's a big girls in basketball shorts person though, which I don't understand, but hey, to each their own.
I actually took note of that and was like, good for you, Brian. Good for you.
No, not good for you, Brian.
Let women have their comfort.
Do not spread the message that girls look good in basketball shorts because it is not true.
Hey, apparently it is to some men.
Some weird dudes.
Yeah, he's a pretty weird dude. And
He
then
is a pretty weird dude.
My second
question. He
question.
seems really nice though. So.
Yeah, he does seem nice. He's weird though. My second question for you is on these dates that they have every season where it's like they are split into a team and they compete and the losers go home. You love it?
I love it.
Like if you were on the show, you'd like it?
No, as a viewer of the show, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you were on the show, is it like if you were one of those guys playing basketball, would you love that because it gives you like that extra push for competition, or would you hate it?
I mean, like I am an extremely competitive person. So
yeah.
I would probably love it. As long as it's something I was halfway decent at.
Yeah.
Or I was on Brian's team, and I could just have him carry our team the entire time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I much prefer one as a viewer and two probably as a contestant as well. Having dates like that, I like the competition.
Okay. Cool. I don't know how I feel about it. I was sad when the guys lost and had to go home.
Well, it sucks to be them. They should have won.
But they tried so hard.
They should have won.
I guess that's just where we differ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have won. That was a big arena. Also.
Yeah, where were they playing?
They were playing in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. Why are they called the Connecticut Sun?
I have no idea.
That makes no sense to me. That's honestly worse than like the Utah Jazz. But at least there's a reason for the Utah Jazz, the Los Angeles Lakers. The Jazz moved from New Orleans, and the Lakers moved from Minnesota. So but I don't think that there's ever been a ton of movement among WNBA franchises. So how do you get to the Connecticut Sun? It just does not make any sense to me. Yeah,
I have no idea. That's an interesting name.
See, honestly, if I were creating a professional women's basketball team in Connecticut, I would call them the Wolves.
Why?
Well, think about UConn women's basketball. They're the Huskies, right?
Yeah.
They're by far the most successful women's college basketball program. I would absolutely ride their coattails.
Okay, so you think that by calling them the Wolves, they'd have success just based on that name?
I just think it would evoke good regional connections. Because you think about it, like the women's basketball program at UConn, they're the Huskies. Like Huskies are kind of cute. Well, the Huskies are very cute, actually.
They're super cute, but they're also big dogs.
But like now, all of a sudden, you get to professional ranks, and they're the Wolves. You know, they're mean, they're nasty, they're bigger, they're stronger. I just think if I were going to create a women's basketball team in Connecticut, which this is the first time I've ever had this thought, by the way, I would name them the Wolves.
All right, well, That's some good logic there. I honestly have no opinion on women's basketball and the teams, unfortunately. I just know nothing about that. But yeah, Wolves would be a good name, but the Sun's fine too.
How is the Sun fine? The Sun has no connection to the area at all.
I don't know. I've been a part of so many like weird mascot situations in my life. Granted, I don't play pro anything.
For those of you guys who don't know what a billiken is, basically a billiken was a good luck charm in the late 1800s, early 1900s. The school we go to, our football team was coached by a guy who apparently looks like a billiken a lot. And so during a newspaper headline, underneath a picture caption, somebody wrote Brian's Billikens, or whatever the guy's name was. And it just sort of stuck, and now 100 years later, despite the fact that we no longer have a football team, St. Louis University's mascot is still the Billiken. And so now, 100 years later, we are at St. Louis University, we are the Billikens.
Hashtag forever a Billiken.
Hashtag forever a son and daughter of St. Louis University, yada, yada,
yada. Moving on.
Moving on from our
glory days. Sorry.
Okay. Moving on to the final date, because I think we're pretty much, are we done with the group date? Because we'll talk, I want to talk a little bit later about the cocktail party.
Yeah. We can be done with the group date, and we can move on to Marcus then.
Let's move on to Marcus. Why would you ever tell the Bachelor people, a real fear of yours?
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing.
There is no upside to that. What you should do, if you're being smart, is to tell them something that other people are afraid of, but that you're not afraid of. Like, I'm not afraid of heights, but I would tell them that I was afraid of heights, because then there would be a chance that I would get to go on a date in which I was challenged, or my fear of heights was challenged, but since I'm not actually afraid of heights, I'm not actually scared of it, but I can sort of put on a little face like, oh, like I'm really nervous, like this is a really tall building, it's really windy out here, and then I look good, but then I'm not actually challenged.
Yeah, I agree. Like, everyone knows by now what the question about fears is, and everyone knows that if you put you're afraid of heights, you're gonna get a height date. So I agree. I think you should just put, something you're not afraid of, and it would be
I would never tell somebody that I'm afraid of snakes. It just doesn't, there's just no upside to it.
Yeah, they'd put you on a date where you guys were going into like this behind the scenes zoo situation. You get to hold an anaconda. Like, that's what you get.
Exactly. Or they'd be like, we want you to walk through this bed of snakes. And just no, I don't want to do that.
Would you do it? If you were on TV, would you do it?
Ooh. That's a really good question, actually.
I wouldn't do it if it was spiders. I'd quit.
It all depends on, were we drinking before this? Because if we were drinking before this...
then you'd do anything.
I don't know if I'd do anything. That's a little bit...
That's a stretch.
Exactly. That's a bit of a stretch, yeah. But like, it would make me more amenable to doing it. How much would you drink on a one-on-one date?
Well, they're long. They're like 10 hours. So, like, if you're at lunch and there's wine, I'd have like 2 to 3 glasses.
Now, would you do it just because you wanted to drink, or because you wanted to grease the conversation because you're on national television and you cannot, and you can't look bad, and like you can't just like sit there and not have anything to say?
I mean, I feel like I always have things to say, whether they're interesting or not. So I wouldn't be worried about.
After 10 hours, you're just like with one person. I mean,
Have you met me?
I'm not a particularly talkative person when it just comes to random conversation. So maybe that's just me. But after 10
I feel like that's my strong point almost. Like, I feel like I could talk to the same person for 10 hours straight and it not be like tiresome, but it might be tiresome to them.
Yeah,
so maybe they would need the wine.
Maybe I would just need to be drunk the entire date.
Yeah. No, I would just probably like want to drink and then like reduce any awkwardness not conversation-wise, but just like, oh, this is such a weird situation-wise.
Because it seemed like, especially like Dylan's date actually this time, there was a lot of alcohol involved, or at least they were always drinking.
Hey, they needed it.
They did need
They
it.
needed
Yeah.
it.
Do you think they provided him with more alcohol because they thought he was going to cry?
I don't know.
I immediately assume that there's a diabolical purpose behind everything that happens on the show.
Well, there is, yeah. I think that he was gonna probably cry no matter what, but
Probably, but still.
yeah, alcohol doesn't hurt matters ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of heights?
No.
No? Okay.
I've gone skydiving. Like, I'm not afraid of heights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very true. That is good. Rappelling is awesome.
Yeah, I've only like fake
really,
rappelled.
Really fun.
I've only like fake rappelled. I haven't like.
Wait, how do you fake rappel?
Like it was like a kid thing, and it was like kind of like a rock climbing wall situation, but it was like
how tall was it?
I don't remember. I was younger. Not very.
I think the farthest I've ever rappelled down was like 30-ish some feet.
Okay, this was like probably smaller than that. So.
Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I would like to. Like, I think rappelling off a building would be fun. Like, I would have liked that date.
Oh, absolutely! I would have loved that. That would have been awesome. I would have been jumping immediately.
I mean, anything that there's like ropes and stuff involved, you know you're not gonna die, because even if you slipped, you'd be caught on your rope.
Mm-hmm. And like those ropes are really, really strong. Like when we used to rock climb or like climb-ish type stuff, they always made it a point to tell us that our ropes were rated to 3,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So, and I was probably about 100 pounds at that point, so I had literally nothing to worry about. I could have thrown myself off a 50-story building, gotten up to terminal velocity, and still been fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, what would scare me the most out of all those kind of things would be, like, a bungee jumping situation, just because I think that's freaky. But I would still do it, and I'd still like it.
Yeah. Wait, you're afraid of bungee jumping now?
No, like, it would freak me out, but I wouldn't say I'm afraid of it. Like, I would sign up to do bungee jumping on my own.
So
I would just be nervous.
Okay, so are you nervous that the rope would snap, or are you worried that you would like bounce in a weird way and you'd like hit the side of the canyon?
Yeah, I think it would just be like the bounce back, like if it would hurt me or something. But I'm sure they'd have that all figured out.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
But yeah, I would agree. I agree. I'm not afraid of heights. I would have loved that date. Whatever. How many people do you think actually saw them? Because that was perfect the way that they had them in front of
the room.
In front of the room. I loved it.
That was totally on purpose and totally wonderful.
Yeah, I was really glad when I saw that.
That was so funny. And when Marcus was like, should we kiss in front of them? And Andy was just like, no. Like, just shut him down.
That was a good move by Marcus, though.
Yeah.
If she had said yes, like that would have been icing on that date cake.
The guys would have gotten so mad, though.
Oh, I know. Like I said, I would have loved it.
Of course you would have. No, I'm happy they didn't, but it was so funny. They had to just like watch them on their date. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, I would have been giving Marcus some grief for walking so slowly down. Like, obviously it was because of Andy, but at the same time, like, you gotta jump when you're rappelling. It's so much fun.
Yeah. She was a pretty big baby about it. Like, she was
a huge baby about it. Come on.
Like, to Marcus's credit, I feel like most guys would have started to get frustrated and it would have come across. If Marcus was frustrated, it certainly did not come across. He was very patient.
Not at all. He was on his best behavior.
He was really good with her. I liked it.
Do you have anything else to say about about the rappelling?
No, it was just I thought he was really cute with her.
Yeah, I thought he did really well, actually. I immediately put him in my, I think I had him in my top 3, but if I didn't, I put him in there as a result of that.
Yeah, she likes him.
I've got a question. During these dinners,
Mm-hmm.
if you notice the color of the wine that everybody drinks?
Red.
No.
It's white?
Andy drinks red.
Oh.
The guys all drink white.
Huh. Okay.
Like, I just think it's really interesting because I like to think that all the guys are drinking really sweet, like raspberry wine or something like that. And Andy's drinking like dark red, like Cabernet or something.
Yeah,
really
no, I didn't
sweet.
even notice the guys. Like, I noticed that she was drinking red, so I just assumed that they did too, but I guess not. And I wonder if they ask them, like, pay preference, or like, why do they give all the guys white?
I don't know. I feel they probably have to ask them because I can't imagine they just automatically bring out white wine and they bring out red wine for her. Like, I know that they've asked her what kind of.
Oh yeah, she clearly was like, hey, I like these reds.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something interesting that I noticed because I don't know if I haven't noticed it for every single date, but the past 3 dates, Dylan's and JJ's and whoever was before that,
Nick?
Nick. They all drank. I think it was Nick at least. They all drank white.
Red wine.
All right, you're done.
Yeah, I don't know. I never noticed that, but I hope that they get to pick because that'd be fun.
That would be pretty fun. How good do you think the wine is? Because they spend so much money on everything else. Like you have to imagine that they at least get decent wine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine it's like a $200 bottle, but I imagine
that.
I don't imagine it's a $10 bottle either. I bet it's decently good wine. I hope. You gotta keep people happy.
Yeah, you do have to keep people happy. Gotta give people what they want. After dinner, they went to that concert. Did I hear that guy's name wrong, or was his name John Party?
As soon as those concert things happen, my brain immediately shuts down and my eyes glaze over because I can't handle it. So maybe it was John Party. It was.
I can't imagine. I didn't rewatch it or anything.
It was something dopey sounding like that. I don't know. Whatever.
That's a good name for a singer though. John Party.
Those are so. I hate when they do those.
Really?
Just don't do those. That's so awkward.
Why? Was it the fact that they were roped off?
Yeah,
on a raised platform.
Yeah,
because nobody this season at least has been like, oh, I totally know this band. I love this band. Marcus was just like, I like country music. And these people are playing country music pretty well, so I'm cool with it.
I just felt like it was anything is because it's it's either private and then you can't really talk because you have to enjoy the music because you're the only people there, or in this case it's roped off, so everyone all these fans of the show are watching your every move and staring at you. It's just awkward.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
I don't
know. I would much rather have the concert with other people though.
Yeah, I would too. I would just rather actually be in. I get for logistical purposes why it can't be like this, but I'd rather just go to the concert.
Oh, absolutely.
Not be on a raised, roped off platform in the middle. That's awkward.
It was a pretty fancy platform too.
It was really fancy.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah,
nice platform.
That would make me uncomfortable.
All right, I'm not really a fashion person, but have you noticed that when all of Andy's shirts seem to have really strong shoulders?
Can you explain? Do you mean thick? They're thick or strong material?
They're thick.
So they're not spaghetti strap. They're full.
Whatever she was wearing, I just watched it earlier this morning actually. Whatever she was wearing, she had this really giant ruffle over each shoulder, and it was very, I don't know, it was very strong.
Yeah, I mean she does play up the shoulders a lot. I think. I mean she has nice arms, so I'm sure that's an intentional thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was something whenever I see her in just a shirt or something, it's always or even some of her. I think one of her blazers that she had during the Bachelor, it just had these massive lapels that went all the way to her shoulders. And
you remember one of the blazers she had?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, Phil. Yeah,
like I said, I'm not much on fashion, so it was just like something that sticks out to me.
Yeah. I don't. I generally like the way she dresses overall.
I can't really make a statement on that. I can just pick out things that I notice. I can't actually comment on this stuff. So.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Something I can comment on.
Yes.
When the producers asked her what kind of dresses she would like for her cocktail parties, I guarantee the first word out of her mouth was sparkles.
Oh, yes. Almost all her dresses have been sparkly.
This is the third sparkly dress that she's had.
Yeah, and not just like a little sparkly, like heavy.
Yeah, like really, really sparkly.
Yep. Yeah, she seems to really like the glitzy, sequin, glam type situation.
Who do you think wrote that secret admirer letter?
I don't know. The producers?
That would be awesome.
No, I don't know. I bet the producers told someone to do it.
They probably did, but whoever did has really, really good handwriting.
Yeah, come on. That had to be I feel like that was
honestly, what they probably did was they looked at all the applications and noticed that a guy had really good handwriting and said, all right, you're going to write this love letter.
Oh my gosh, you're probably right. That's awful.
I love it. Because it set such a positive cast to the beginning of the evening when she was I wonder who wrote me this. I'm going to try to find out.
But she didn't, though.
And then she didn't find out. And then everything just went to hell in a handbasket. I loved it.
I love that expression.
Every day is real to me. This is real to me, Emma. Every day this is real to me.
Walk out the door if you think this is a joke.
That was honestly my second favorite line after Markel's "I'm gonna serenade the shit out of you."
Yeah, I just felt bad at that point because I felt like Andy was upset and kind of a little too much so. And I knew Eric was going home. It was just awkward.
She overreacted.
She did.
Eric made some really, really good points. She has been pushing these guys constantly to open up about yourself, open up about yourself, open up about yourself. And she really doesn't, at least from what we can see, really reciprocate that much.
Yeah.
So,
you never know what she's actually doing though.
I get that, and I get that she probably doesn't want to have to explain to 20 different people that she has a sister and she really loves her parents and her dad's really overprotective. Because that would get tiring, but at the same time, it's always about these guys and it's never really about her. It never really feels like a conversation is happening. It's just, I'm going to tell you what's going on. Or you're going to tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I think that she did definitely overreact. I think a lot of that probably has to do with, she probably doesn't get much sleep. She's probably tired and stressed and exhausted, so I'm sure part of that had to do with it. And then, I agree with you. I think Eric's intentions there were good, and he was just trying to, clear the air even more between them.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I think he just suffered from what tends to happen a lot with men, in my opinion, where you think something's coming out nice, and in your head you hear it, and it sounds nice, but then everyone else who hears it is like, oh my gosh, that sounded horrible. And so, he thought he was being nice, but he, actually was kind of being insulting, but he genuinely had no idea.
No, he had no idea. Honestly, when I was watching it, the only thought that I had was he's being way too aggressive with it. He shouldn't have called her a TV actress.
No. No.
That was bad, but he was just being he just went into it with an attitude of aggression that he shouldn't have. He probably should have been a little bit more conciliatory, and then everything would have probably worked out pretty well. Because I think she would have understood that he was frustrated, that he would tell her things oh, I almost died in Syria. And then she, all he really knows about her is, I'm a lawyer.
Yeah, you're from Atlanta,
Yeah, just that sort of basic stuff. Like he really did open up to her, and I think that he was frustrated that she probably wasn't opening up to him in the same way. So like I really get where he was coming from. So I do think he could have handled it better, but
Yeah.
I don't hold it against him what he said.
No, I don't either. And I think he meant it in the best of ways, and I think she was just like tired and just like snapped. Like she heard TV actress and just like snapped.
Yeah.
And then it didn't matter what else he said after that because that was all she heard.
Another thing I noticed from that, they were really close to everyone. I figured that they would just be pretty far away.
Everyone heard.
And like they were like 20 feet away from where all the guys were sitting.
Yeah, it was clear like everyone heard them.
So it made me think back to when Craig did his apology. They were really close to everyone at that point too, and I figured that was just the producer saying like, "You're going to be really close because like everybody needs to see this." But at the same time, like maybe they're just given a very small space with which to interact in.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've got five different spots that they can go to, and they're all really close to each other. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they're supposed to I'm sure they can technically go anywhere, but the producers are like, hey, stay within this in this room so we can get everything. And yeah, it was like awkward because you knew all the guys were listening in, and bad situation.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad situation. But whatever. What do you think about Tassos going home?
I'm not surprised. I mean, he seemed like a cool dude. It just didn't seem like him and Andy were blossoming into anything.
Yeah, I actually had him in my second tier. I thought he was going to last a little bit longer, but it didn't shock me that he went home.
Yeah. I mean,
like I thought he was above Andy or Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Andy, do you think that Andy the girl would want to be an Andy couple?
No.
Do you think you don't think she would find that? You don't think she would find that cute?
No, like unless the guy was like the perfect man, I don't think she would go for it. And I don't think Andrew's the perfect man. So I think he's gonna go as soon as producers let him get sent home.
Okay, I got you. I don't know. There could be some interaction there that we haven't seen.
There could, and we just don't know.
All right. Anything else? Anything that you're excited to see? Because I didn't watch like any of the preview stuff for next week or anything, so I can't imagine. I imagine that was going to be the most dramatic of all the episodes. At some point, we're probably going to see the whole Andy situation blow up. Andrew, I'm going to start referring to him exclusively as Andrew, just because I can't talk about Andy like that.
Yeah, just say Andrew.
So I think the whole Andrew situation is going to blow up at some point, but I don't think it's going to be next week. I think next week's just going to be pretty low key, because right now she's like in that. The whole show has that cast of, is Andy actually going to find love? Is this process broken? And then next episode is when it's going to restore her faith in the process.
Yeah, so it's going to be, I think, some good dates. And I'm trying to remember, they definitely showed who got the one-on-one dates in the previews. And I wrote it down, but I can't find where I wrote it. I want to say that maybe Markel gets a one-on-one.
I'd be excited to see that.
Who else? Somebody else I like gets one. Or maybe I think Josh. Josh hasn't gotten one, right?
No, he hasn't. Because he was complaining about not getting one in episode 4.
Yeah, I want to say I think it might be Josh and Markel.
That would be a good episode. I'm tuning in for that one because
watch it not be either of them.
But, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't watch the preview, so I have no legs to stand on when it comes to criticizing you on that. So whatever.
And then we also still have to see. I know there's some drama surrounding Markel that comes up because they showed it a few times.
Oh yeah.
Where he's. Yeah. So there's some drama I think with like Nick too, or like guys hating on Nick again. I don't know. So there's some. It
wouldn't surprise me because I mean, if like one thing where
he like quote unquote steps above his bounds, like with those flowers in the letter. Like I think the guys are like, oh, like really smart, like okay, whatever, that was really smart. But if he does that sort of thing again, I can see the guys turning on him.
Yeah, because it's clear that he's
it was outside the bounds of the process, and like whatever, it was really freaking smart to do. But I think that if the guys like see it again, then they're not gonna be very happy with Nick.
No, and he's already clearly a front runner, so I'm sure guys are already threatened by him. So
do the guys think that Nick's a front runner? Because whenever we see them, they always at least look very private. And like I'm not comparing Nick to Charlene in any way possible. But they mentioned afterwards that none of the girls knew that Charlene was such a front runner.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if the guys didn't get that Nick was, especially since he's sort of a goofy, quiet guy. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't think that he had the upper hand at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, especially since he doesn't seem very similar to a lot of the guys around. So I could see people being like, oh, that's not her type. Like, they're just friends type thing. Speaking of people, I just realized we totally didn't mention this whole episode. Patrick's still around, right?
Yes, Patrick is still around. During our first episode podcast, we both said that Andy and Patrick were gone. Of course, you corrected me that Patrick was still there, though. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patrick. I don't know. Patrick's I was actually just thinking about that during the show, and we didn't bring his name up or anything, but we haven't seen anything from Patrick at all. All we saw was Andy and Patrick in the first episode talking about Formula One and how much better they were than everybody else. So he could really, there's a chance he could surprise some people.
Yeah, like that's what makes me nervous. Like I always forget about him, and then all of a sudden when I remember, I'm like he's an attractive man. He's still around. We haven't seen much. I don't know. There could be something there.
There could be, yeah.
But
I don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. We'll have to tune in next time. And unless you have anything else to say, everybody else is going to have to tune into us next time too.
Yeah, I'm all set. We'll actually record, on time next week because we won't be on a trip, unfortunately.
Yeah, very unfortunately.
Yeah. Wah, wah.
Whatever. Disappointing. All right. Well, Emma, I'll talk to you later, all right?
Yep, see you later.
All right, see ya.